Welcome to our Google Search Tips class. This is a class for everybody. And I'm going to share with you guys the agenda for today. So we're going to use the search bar and find some fun things and some examples. For example, we're going to go over using a calculator in the search bar. We're going to do some simple data conversions. We're going to do some currency conversions. We're going to do vacation, distance, hotel searches, figure out a time, sunrise and sunsets. We're going to do some customer support lookups, definitions and etymologies, stocks, IP addresses, and flight status. So this is what we're going to do today. Feel free to pause, rewind, speed up, or slow down if you want some more time. Okay, so let's go. Okay, I'm going to open a new tab here. Okay, so everything that we want to use within Google is usually here on top. So this is going to be the search bar in Google Chrome up here, or you can use the actual search bar down here too. So these two things, let me try to annotate this so you can see what I'm trying to point at right now. Hold on one second. Let's do this. Does this work? Okay, let's draw on this. Okay, so this here, oops. Let's do a redo. So this here is the URL bar or the search bar in Google Chrome. This here also is the exact same thing. So these two things are equivalent to each other in Google Chrome, which is Google's web browser. This is the same thing as, so a web browser is something we use to search. So if you're using a PC, most likely you're going to be using Microsoft Edge or Internet Explorer. If you're using a Mac computer, you might be using Safari. You can also download Google Chrome onto your computers and use Google Chrome, whether you're using a PC or a Mac or a cell phone. So we're going to try to do everything from today. We're going to do everything from here. Let's clear this. We're going to try to do everything from here, the search bar up here, so that you will have to do less clicks when you're searching for things. So the first one I said was trying to figure out using this as a calculator. So for example, if you're ever on your phone or on the computer and you'd figure out a simple math or hard math, the answers will always be here on top. So for example, like you want to say what 56 times 43 is. So what's going to happen is that Google is going to automatically, Google is going to automatically, I was trying to annotate that for you. Okay, Google is going to automatically show you here with the blue circle and equal sign that this is already the answer without even having to click enter. So we know that 56 times 43 is 2048. So we could throw in another thing, like we could try 7 plus 7. And you'll see here, before you even click on enter, it'll automatically show you the answer here with this blue circle here. It's going to show that this is the answer, 14, okay? So besides using this as a regular calculator, we use this as a tip calculator. So you have to type in the word tip calculator first. And then what's going to happen is that it's going to show you this here on top. So this here on top is going to be what Google's providing for you to use without having to click on anything. So this down here is actually a website. So if you want to use this kind of tip calculator, you would actually have to click on it, and then it'll bring you to this other website. So I'm trying to help you minimize your clicks to make it a little bit faster and easier. So what we're going to do here, so after we searched in look tip calculator, this is what popped up here. So we're going to use this up here, okay? So from here, for example, if you want to figure out what, let's say you had a dinner for $100 and you wanted to tip them, let's say 18%, and you wanted to split it between 3 people. And then I'll show you this, and I'll figure it out all for you here. So I'll show you that the tip per person is $6, and the total per person is going to be $39.34. So this is a good way for you to use this without having to click into anything. Another thing that we can use the Google search bar is for data conversions. So for example, let's go back up here. So this is where we do all our searches up here. Let's say today, let's pretend today is a sunny day, which it is. We'll say that, so we'll say like 64 degrees. And we could say Fahrenheit to Celsius, because in America we use Fahrenheit. So if I click enter, it's going to show that. Actually, hold on, whoops. If I click on, I shouldn't have to, let's do this again. So let's go 64 degrees to, oops, Fahrenheit to Celsius. Oh, something I learned new today also. Okay, so if you just type in 64 degrees Fahrenheit without even having to click to Celsius, it'll automatically enter here with the blue circle, like what we had at first with our calculator calculations. It'll say that 64 degrees Fahrenheit is equal to 17.78 degrees Celsius. So without even having to click. So let's try to do it the other way. Let's say you have friends and family who are traveling abroad, and they're telling you that today it's 20 degrees Celsius. And you're like, what is 20 degrees in America? And you'll be like, oh, 20 degrees is 6 to 8 degrees Fahrenheit. So you know how hot or how warm it is over there. So this is a way for you to do this without having to click. You can also use it with clicking in. For example, we'll just say Celsius to Fahrenheit. So do you remember when we used the tip calculator just at first? The tip calculator, we can also click onto these. These are websites. You'll see that this has a URL. So this is the URL. But let's use this up here. This shows us, this is provided, Google puts it up here on top, so we just use directly from the search results. So if we say, let's say, like just that first 20 degrees Celsius, is equal to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And you'll see here, this is the formula that they figured this out with. For example, you don't want to figure out the temperature, you could click on other things. Speed, miles per hour to kilometers. You can also change it. It doesn't have to be that. Knots. If we have America's Cup of Care again in San Francisco, which probably won't be likely, but you can figure out how many miles per hour one knot is, or if you want to do, let's see, let's do area. So 1 square foot is equal to 3.58 square miles. You could change it to all these different types of values here. So from every time you change what you want to convert, the drop-down menu will also change for the values. So that's something to note. And you could use this for figuring that out without having to click on anything. Another thing I want to share with you guys is currency conversions. So for example, if you, so let's go back up here on top. Let's say, so like I said, we use everything, we try to use everything here on top. You don't have to, but it's easier. So this one here on top, you can also click it, type it in here too. It's the same thing, but let's try it. Okay, let's say, let me clear my drawings first. Okay, so let's say you are deciding to travel post-pandemic, and you say you want to figure out how much 100 USD to euros is. or 100 euros. Let's type in this first. No, let's go to Australia. So you would have to know the three value name for the monetary value or monetary instrument. So USD, United States dollars, is equal to Australian dollars. So see that 100 USD is equal to $130 and 69 Australian dollars. And like I said before, this is where it's this blue. This shows these two arrows mean is the conversion. And this is what they've done already for you without even having to click it. So you can change this to, let's say, if you want to go to Canada, let's say CAD. I'll show you that 100 US dollars is equal to 125 Canadian dollars. This is not with having to click it. But if you want to, you could click it one in more. So if you press actually enter. So what it's going to do is that it's actually going to pop up with that familiar top section here that Google provides for you without having to click onto any of these links and go into a different website. So from here, without having to type onto the URL bar or the search bar on top anymore, you could just click around here. You could say 100 Bajan dollars, and that is equal to 96,512 Burundi francs. So we know that this is how much the money is worth. And if you wanted to figure out some other fun things, this shows you the values. So here, let me annotate this for you. So this here shows you this is the 1 month historical. You could do 1 year, 5 years, 5 days, 1 day, or the max of how much data they have. So if we go from there, let's go back to the US dollars really quick and let's take a look at that. US dollars, and let's go to euros. Okay, so we'll see that here. We know that this information is current as of April 8th, 5:54 p.m. UTC. I'm trying to figure out what that is in top of my head, what it's, but it's the most current one. So here you'll see that within this 1 month, this is the history of the US dollar. So you'll see that it went from 8.4, and I think March 11th, it dropped down a little, then it went back up. So you'll see this. If you click on 5 years, you'll see the data values of the conversion max. Let's see how far it goes back. Oh, it goes back to 1998. And you'll see when US dollars are worth more than euros. Now euros are worth more than dollars, but that's part of the fun. So another thing I wanted to share with you, since we're talking about figuring out different values of money, is traveling. So for example, if we are planning a post-pandemic trip, let's say we want to go from San Francisco and we want to go to, let's say we want to go to New York. San Francisco to New York. We'll type in San Francisco to New York. And what's going to happen is that here you will see, let's annotate this really quick. You'll see this here on top. This is going to be the results from Google Flights. And this will show you some fun things with that. So let's click on that and let's go into this. So I'm clicking on show flights. So when you click on show flights, let's do that again, just in case we didn't catch that. So here, so this is where the results are from Google. If I click here, where it says show flights, it's going to open the Google Flights window. Okay, so let's do that again. So I'm going to click here, show flights. So this is going to bring you to a different page of Google. But this is the Google Travel page. Oops. This is the Google page for travel. And hopefully, I think I might do a class on this soon. I think we're all kind of itching to travel, and this might be a helpful tool for people trying to plan vacations. So we are looking for a flight. So at first we typed in San Francisco to New York. It's going to automatically pop up as flights first, okay? So you see this is blue while these are gray. So this lets you know that you're on the flights tab or the flight page of this Google Travel. So here, it's a San Francisco to New York. Let's say I don't want to fly out on the 22nd, and you click on that. So you click on the first day when you want to go outbound. That's going to show you all the times that are available and the prices. Anytime you see a price in blue, a green. Anytime you see a price in green, so like this, you see these prices here, 211, 205, 211, 217. So this is not green, this is gray. But these green prices usually mean it's the lowest price of the month or of that section of that time you're looking for. You'll notice a pattern when you're looking at these. You'll see that usually Mondays and Fridays are usually gray and not cheap to fly out. Usually midweek, like here, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Saturdays is cheaper to fly because people want to already be at the destinations. So that might be a cost saving to you. But let's click on, let's say, for example, I want to go to New York for Memorial Day weekend. So Memorial Day weekend is what, the 31st of May this year. So let's say I want to fly out sometime in May. So I see May here. So let's say I want to fly out on Friday, the 28th. And it's going to ask you the second date here. It's going to ask you when you want to come back. So let's say I want to come back a week later. So the 28th to the June 4th. So that'll be 1 week. And I press done. So now it's going to recalculate and rerun those dates for me. So it's going to tell me here. And this will be your results for that. I'm not going to go into too many details about Google Flights and travel because we have other things I want to go over. But this will go into, this is the flight, May 28th. If I click on select flight, I see that this leaves at 2:20 from San Francisco. And this is going to land in Newark Liberty at 10:50 p.m. I can click select flight. And it's going to ask me, when do I want to return to San Francisco, returning flights? And then I would click one of these. There's more flights, but these are more expensive. And these have, let's say, layovers. I don't want to do a layover. So I would click one of these nonstop flights. I'll click this one here, and it's going to show me it's going to be 251. So going back to the front here also, let's go back up here. Let's go from the top, okay? So let's say I want to figure out, let's say maybe let's do a road trip instead. I don't want to fly, I want to do a road trip, okay? So let's go back to the top here. And let's use our URL search bar again. So I'm going to say, once again, let's type in San Francisco. Oops. Let's type in San Francisco to New York. Press enter. So we all remember this on top. We just went over that. This is from Google Flights. But now let's scroll a little bit down and let's look at this. So this will tell us how we need to get to New York if we are driving. So this little car means driving. This little bus means public transportation. If we decide to make a pilgrimage and walk to New York, or if we decide to do a biking trip across America, we click one of those. So let's click on them and see what happens. So it'll default to the car, so driving, it'll be 43 hours. If I click on the train, let's say, and it tells me that if I leave now, I would go to, from Montgomery Street, it would take me, what, 3 days and 10 hours. If I click on walking, it's going to tell me that it's going to take me 958 hours. And if I click on biking, it's going to say 266 hours. Oh, you save a lot of time by biking versus walking. So we can also click. So if you're going to go into each one, I also show you some more fun things. So go back to the car one, the first one, you click on directions. It's going to open you to Google Map or bring you to Google Maps. So that will bring you to a different site, with a different page, which is Google Maps. And you'll see, you can zoom in here and look at that. There's a split here. Let's see, is that in Lincoln? So that right at Lincoln, it'll split depending on what route. The blue route right here is taking I-80 east all the way to New York. That'll be 43 hours. So that's the first choice. First choice here. It'll be like, this route has tolls. I'll tell you also this is the fastest route, and with the usual traffic, I'll tell you this is 2,903 miles. But if I decide to take the second route, which is I-80 east to the Interstate 70 east, if I click on it here, it'll bring this down to this route here. So like at first, when we were at the first page, it showed us the car. Oops, I should not draw with blue because you can't see it against the blue background. Okay, it showed us, or that light purple, that doesn't work either. Let's do this yellow. So the blue, sorry, the car, and then this is the public transportation, walking, biking, and they have the option of flight here. But flight at first, when the first page was above it. So if I click on that, let's say I want to take public transportation, and it's going to show me a different way now. So it would ask, so if I leave Monday, sorry, it'll get me Monday. So this one is from what? San Francisco, 4th and King. I would take a limited train to, oh, no, this is a bus, sorry. No, this is a train, the Caltrain, to San Jose Jordan Station, and then the Greybound. There's many things that's gonna be fun for this. So let's go back also, let's look at hotels now. So going back here on top, you can just type in like New York hotels. And it's gonna, so anytime you see this here on top, this is an ad. Oh, let's make this a little thicker. This is an ad, this is an ad. So they pay, these people pay Google for them to have their website pop up first. So it grabs your attention, but we want to look at something else. So let's scroll a little bit down, and this is what we want to look at here. So this is from this section here, is from Google. And without having to click on anything, this will help you look for things. So an example, remember we were talking about flying to New York. So we said the 28th to the 4th, Friday to Friday. That's 7 nights. I'm gonna click done. And that will bring me to the Google Travel page again. And this will let me click around here. I'm gonna save this for a different class though. I feel like Google Travel has so much to offer, and we're not gonna cover all of that in this 1 hour. So going back to our search bar tips, there's something that I wanna share with you that is figuring out the time in the world. So using this up here, we are going to search for some fun time information. So for example, let's say, I want to call my friend in Paris, but I don't know what time it is, and I don't want to call them in the middle of the night. So we'll say like San Francisco, Paris time. So it'll tell me that here on top, that Paris, France is 9 hours ahead of San Francisco. So right now it is 11:08 a.m. on Thursday, and it is 8:08 p.m. Thursday also in Paris, France. And this is done without having to click on one of these links again. So this helps you cut off some time. And if you want to figure out another thing important for Ellis, like figure out sunsets and sunrises for those who celebrate different festivals or holidays or religious events that depend on the sunrise or the sunset. This is very good. This is very useful to know. So let's say like San Francisco sunset. And this will pop up right here without having to click on enter right here. So this is kind of like when we did it up here on top. I think it's going to be the same, but I type it right here too. San Francisco sunset. Yep. So you'll see here in this blue that this is I guess this is their icon for the weather, but this is telling you that today the sun will set at 7:39 p.m. Another thing I want to share with you, like I said before, was the customer service. For example, if you want to figure out, without having to go through a whole website, let's say you want to call Macy's and you want to figure out something on your bill, right? So instead of typing Macy's.com, and then you'd have to like scroll through here, figure out on the bottom where I can contact them and like look through this whole website. Like you'd have to go through here, figure out which one is the one I need to figure out and call. Let's say customer service, contact us. I have to click on all those things. So I click on contact us, and then it'll bring me here, and then I have to click on more things. So let's try to simplify that. So what we're going to do, like I said before, we use the search bar here on top, and let's just do this. Oops, let's get rid of my blue circle first. Clear drawings. Okay, let's type in Macy's customer support. If I click on that, the magic of Google will let me know that the Macy's customer service number is right here. And I would just call that number and I will be done without having to go through their website. Another thing I want to share with you is figuring out definitions. We can type it in here. So slander definition. So without having to click on it again, you'll see here on top with the blue bookmark, slander definition, slander, the action of crime or making a false spoken statement damaging to a person's reputation. And that's the answer or that's the definition of the answer. That's a definition for slander without having to click it. You can click it, press enter. And it will also give you this here on top. This is the information that Google is pulling for you here on top without having to click on anything. Another fun thing to look up is, so you could type it in here, but let's use this bar up here. Let's say the etymology of slander. So where did this word originate from? If I click on that, it's going to show me here on this top part that this is going to be the origin and the etymology of the word slander. And it's going to go through where this word came from. So for example, we'll see that now we're here in Middle English, slander. And this pulled back from Old French and English. And it had come from Old French, which then came from Latin. So we'll see this here, and that's how we get that without having to click on any of these links down here. And that saves a little time for doing that, okay? Let's see, another thing I want to share with you, since we're going over the fun of languages, is figuring out using Google Translate also. Google Translate's a very fun tool that I like to use also. Here on top, So you could type in the word slander, and then you say, what's slander in Spanish? You could type in slander in Spanish. And it's going to show you here in this little blue icon with these letters that this is what slander in Spanish is. Calumnia, which I don't speak Spanish, but that's as close as I can get to pronouncing it. But if you click on it, actually, I press enter, it's going to bring you, it's going to open you to this part up here. So this is going to be the magical top part without having to click on anything. So if we click on here, it's going to automatically detect this as English. You can also tell it that you're typing in a different language. You could say you're going to type in Chinese. You can tell it you're going to type in Swedish, and then you could also then it will translate to whatever language you'd like it to. Another fun part of this is that you can actually click on this, and you could listen to what it sounds like. Calumnia. And that's how it sounds like in Spanish. Another Google Translate itself is a very fun and useful tool. And if you click here, let me annotate this so you can see where I'm going to click. If you click here, open in Google Translate, this will show you some more fun things. So let's click on that. And that will give you a little more history and more information. So if we like, this is the definition of slander. It can be used as a noun. Let's highlight this so you can see what I'm pointing at. It can be used as a noun. It can be used as a verb. And then on this side, on the Spanish side, let's go back up. You'll see that here, it will translate this as a noun. It will translate these as verbs. The frequency. So this here on the side will tell you that how often these shows up as a translation. So for those that don't understand Spanish, like me, and you're trying to translate something, I would strongly suggest you find a Spanish translator. But if you're in a pinch, you can use this, and you can say that, oh, this is what people use the most. This one right here. And for a noun, it would be these two. But that's that. Another fun thing that we can use with our Google search bar up here on top is figuring out stock prices without having to go into your banking institute. So let's say you want to figure out how much Apple stock is worth now. So if you happen to know the ticker, AAPL. So without having to click into anything, it'll automatically give you the answer here. So AAPL on the NASDAQ as of 2:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it is worth $129.99 right here. You want to figure out, let's say you don't know a ticker. Let's say you want to figure out how much Ford stock is. So if I just type in Ford stock, on the first one, it'll tell me that Ford stock, which is just known as F, on the New York Stock Exchange as of 2:16 p.m. is worth $12.50 a share. So that's fun. Another simple thing for when you guys are using this, you could use this as a timer or a stopwatch. So this is good for if you're sitting at home, working from home, and you want to take a break. Let's say set a timer for 50 minutes. Set a timer. Not set a time. Set a timer, and it'll automatically start counting down here, as you can see here. And then, and for the sake of this training, I'm going to change this to set a timer for 10 seconds. Leave. And let's see how it sounds like in 10 seconds. Another thing is that you can also click on stopwatch, but I'm not going to click on it until we hear the beeping noise of the timer. And that's it. A regular beeping noise, like your trusty sport watches. So you can also use a stopwatch. So this side here, as you can see, is the timer. And this side here is a stopwatch. So if I click on stopwatch here and I click on start, it's going to start running it. And then I can also click stop. And this will be my stopwatch. Another thing I want to share is figuring out some upcoming holidays. So for example, let's say I want to figure out when Mother's Day is this year. Mother's Day is sometime in May, but when is it in May? So let's say Mother's Day 2021, enter. And it's going to tell me here that Mother's Day is May 9th. But let's try that again without having to enter. Let's see if it's going to give me the answer. Mother's Day, no, it's not. So this is different. So this doesn't give you that blue answer in the search bar this time. You have to click on the enter button. So Mother's Day 2022, let's change it to next year now. If I click enter, and this will give me that Mother's Day here in May 2022 is May 8th without having to click on these websites. Sometimes it is kind of easier to click on the websites though, if you want to figure out when every single Mother's Day is for the next 5 years without having to type it in each time up here again. So something like Mother's Day 2023, you would just click on one of these websites and it'll tell you Mother's Day within the next, 2019 to 2031. So this will give you the next 10 plus years of Mother's Days. Another thing is if you know you need to, going back to travel, if you know you need to figure out when somebody's coming and you know their flight information, you can always just type it in here on top. So like we were using the search bar here on top. Let's say they're flying Delta. So we know Delta, let's say Delta 1012. So this is the example I used before. If I click on that, this will pull up here on top the answer. So I'll see that today. So this is Delta 1012 from Atlanta to San Diego. Today, Thursday, April 8th. It's flying from Atlanta to San Diego. And we know that here it departed at 4:59 and it is scheduled to arrive at 6:58 today. This is useful for if you want to figure out when your friend is coming or you need to go pick up somebody without having to click on one of these websites. Another way also is always just to go to the actual website of the air carrier. So you can click on Delta or type in delta.com. And then when you get to Delta, you would then, oh, it's still spinning. Why is it taking so long? Okay. You would then click on up here. Let me try to annotate this so you can see what I'm talking about this. You would click here on top, flight status. And then, so flight status, and be like, hey, today, the flight's leaving today, or left today, and the flight number, I know it's 1012. I'm gonna click on search. And that's gonna show me this information right here. So this kind of required, what is that, 2 clicks, 3 clicks? While if I just did up here, Delta 1012, it required 1 click. So one more simple thing for you to know about using Google, the search bar. It makes things a little bit easier when you're trying to search for things and find things without having to go through a website. But yeah, I think I'm going to teach a class on Google Travel because I think there's a lot to explore for all of us there. But once again, so this is our Google search class, Google search tips class. And then that's the class for today. Thanks for joining. Have a good day.